Hey guys, this is Zoom from Discord, and I'm gonna show you my roster and do some PvP in this video. So let's get to it. Yeah, I have four-star Huntress. I'm collecting her legendary essence. I already have 18k. I need 6,000 more. I'm pretty much maxed out her skills, but let's take a look. So whenever I can get her legendary 4-star, and on the first attack, which she will do a lot, she's gonna do 10% true damage to targets below 50% health, which is pretty easy to do because Emerald Arrow and Castaway Arrow usually takes the enemy team under 50% health, or their attack will do so. I also have, usually I use Stewart, Green Lantern, who does that too. So eventually she can use that pretty easily. Basically, she does with the first attack damage to an enemy, gets plus 100% crit chance if target below 50% health. Again, it's pretty easy to achieve. The next attack is Bird of Prey. This is a buff. It won't hit the enemy. Gain 4 evasion ups, 80% chance to gain 3 speed ups, which is pretty often. Gain 35% turn meter. I put my second legendary on this one because I think having turn meter up is always good, so she can take multiple turns. That buff itself is that makes her extremely useful. I put my second legendary on the No Rest passive ability, which is a 100% chance to use Bird of Prey after killing an enemy. Also gain 5 critical chance up. So when I kill with her, regardless of which skill, basically she gets 5 critical hit up, plus she gets the 4 evasion, most of the time the 3 speeds ups, and then which is pretty good. She can stack them as well. Then there is another skill, the Big Hit, which I put my third legendary skill on, which adds an additional 3 strength up if target is killed. So the first attack usually she uses is the Big Hit, so she gets, if she kills with it, which she usually does, then she gets 3 strengths up, 4 evasion, 3 speeds up, 35% turn meter, and then she also gets 5 critical chance up. So it's pretty neat. And combined with the merciless shots afterward, because I think the Big Hit has a 3 CD, 3 turn cooldown, and she will also gonna get 10% true damage to targets below 50% health. So I think she's a really decent character. She's worth to be upgraded to legendary 4. If you wanna put another legendary point on her, she's gonna get the anti-heal debuff on the enemy. So the enemy team, whoever the target is, if the character survives, cannot be healed, which I think it's an overkill for her skills. I would have it's not really useful right now because healers doesn't really survive any matchup. So basically I would have rather take her attack, like get another 10% true damage to targets below 50% health. That would have been a little bit more overpowered and much more useful. So she has, let's see her character sheets. She gets 5,422 power on legendary 3, And her speed, which, well, she's using strength as an attack, so if you do strength debuff on her, she's gonna hit less. Yeah, she has an average hit health point. So she has 91 plus 26 speed. In my experience, basically, every PvP you play, if you don't have Castaway Arrow, you have a high chance that you're gonna lose, because Castaway Arrow is gonna apply 20% to turn meter down if you max his skill out. But the issue with, so always the offensive team gets the starting turn. So if the enemy Castaway Arrow, even though if I have one, the enemy is gonna go first, apply 20% turn meter down, which is, I consider that pretty much like a speed down, because turn meter is decided by the speed, but I think they get slower. Because how they take the turn. Basically, almost everybody on the enemy team can take a turn before mine if Castaway Arrow casts shoots those arrows and apply the 20% turn meter down. That's how the enemy Green Lantern can actually stun any of my team members and go before mine. Otherwise, usually Green Lantern's shield will not stay up for too long. Let's see. I want to talk about the other one, Castaway Arrow. I have him maxed out. Not necessarily not necessarily his abilities, because it's super hard to combine the ability rings, and I'm kind of don't want to spend that much gems and money on paying 850 gems for 10, usually like around average 6 green and 4 blue, or 4 green, 4 blue, and 2 red. That's the average that it drops. Extremely rarely like white. Never seen black ring from there. So his shard is extremely hard to get. Used to be when I started playing the game, he was way more common and was much easier to get the PvP points, because every time when you leveled up, you get 10 PvP energy, which is huge. Like the first 20 or 30 level, that's happened like 5-6 times a day. That was pretty easy to collect a lot of the shards for him. Besides, there weren't as many cards against him. Only 6 of the heroes were you were able to basically pull from the packs, opposed to whatever is now. They weren't really any common. There was Castaway Arrow. There was Doomsday. It was I have to go check it in order to show you exactly here. Also, it was giving you green willpower or blue one on the big pack, but a small pack was better. So yeah, they were Castaway Arrow. There was Assault Suit Lex Luthor. There was World Greatest Detective Batman. Then you could get Doomsday, Swamp Thing, and Deathstroke. The only 6 of them, and then later on they added the Dark Knight Batman, which is pretty much garbage. I think I have him either almost Legendary 5 or already is, but I'm never gonna upgrade him until they change his skills. He's pretty useless. So yeah, going back to Castaway Arrow, yeah, his main skill is really multi-shot. Like damage to all enemies, 70% chance to minus 20% all enemy turn meters, 50% chance to gain invisibility. Okay, so I guess that's what explains to me why is that the enemy can sometimes starts Wonder Woman and Deadshot would be able to go before my team is basically because the 20% doesn't apply 100%. It's extremely rare when it doesn't, but I think it happens. So passive ability, here's the 17% chance to use cover shot on a random enemy at the end of every ally's turn. 20% chance to use cover shot twice. I think it's way higher than that. It's around, I think, 60% or 70% when he is using it very often. Especially when you think on that they apply that to the assist too. So at the end of every ally's turn, and they take it as the assist as a turn. So when Wonder Woman goes once, that triggers also the quickness. So it can go on pretty like a lot of turns until they stop doing that, and then that's when you see like Wonder Woman go 5 times, Green Arrow goes 3 times, Green Lantern 3 times, the Suicide Squad Deadshot also 3 times, and then the Castaway Arrow like 3 times. It's because they keep triggering each other's assist or these passive abilities to go again, and it's extremely annoying right now. But I think it's more of a bug because they are pretty often proc, which they shouldn't. So I put 1 point on his quickness. Unfortunately, I should have do 2, but when it happened, when I figured it out how it works, I wasn't as I didn't put much thought on it at the beginning. I really thought he is really weak, but Queenie really showed me how it's done and how useful it's him. So basically, I put on his trick shot, one of his legendary. I write to customer service, but they deny helping me out with that. They won't remove that one legendary and give it to quickness. You should put 2 on quickness and 1 on multi-shot. I would start with the multi-shot definitely. The first I would start with the 2 quickness, and then afterward whatever you want to put really. Cover shot, yeah. I think if it is multi-shot, yeah, put 2 on quickness, and I think cover shot, the minus 40% enemy turn meter if Green Arrow is invisible. That's pretty good, especially considering that he can, if you use multi-shot, he can go invisible, 50% chance. Combine that, and also the cover shot that is afterward gonna give 40% enemy turn meter if Green Arrow is invisible. So he has a chance to go invisible by the multi-shot. Also, trick shot makes him invisible. Well, I put to get another duration, which is I shouldn't have. I rather put that skill either on quickness or on the cover shot, because I mean every single hit when he assists, he's gonna apply that 40% enemy the turn meter down. That's pretty neat. So it should look like something like quickness and then cover shot as a legendary, and then you can put on multi-shot on the 4th. But that's pretty much his skills. I want to max out as soon as the ability ring drop will gets better. I'm gonna put his cover shot skill max out, and the multi-shot is already, and 1 for quickness. Yeah, I have a lot of green 134. I don't have any problem getting those. Then there is Emerald Arrow that I have Legendary 4. I think he is one of the best useful, skilled heroes, especially, I'm going to show you why. You should start with his team leader ability to put the legendary point. Is basically all allies apply 2 agility downs and minus 13% turn meter if they are critical hit to an enemy. Apply an equal number strength downs on critical hit. So basically, if I would max it out, which I want to, again, I just kind of feel like I don't know, it doesn't really worth 850 times at least 4. I would need. It's cheaper to get the white rings from the event. To pay 500 gems to it. You usually get 1 or 2 from the last node. That's what my experience is. Then try to get it from the 850 pack because, well, if you want to save on the gems, because it barely drops white or black. Mostly the green, blue, and red. So the strategy overpower, it can apply 3 strength downs and 3 agility downs along with 13% turn meter. And then, well, the peak physical form is pretty good, but I mean, I don't think it's that much of a difference it makes. Yeah, extra 50% chance to gain invisibility. I don't think it's that important. Maybe on Legendary 5. Focus, purge 8 debuffs from Green Arrow, which is really useful, by the way. When enemy puts on him a lot of debuff, then he can just purge it off, get 6 affinity ups. Actually, if it would be maxed, he could get 7 affinity ups. And the best one, I really love his legendary. He's getting death immunity. I think it's pretty good. He can cause issues if he can't die. The Storm of Arrows, that was the second legendary I put on him because he has plus 70% critical hit chance. That pretty much means at this point in the game that even with Supergirl 10 critical hit down, he's still gonna crit all the time, critical hit. So max his Storm of Arrows because he is using it first. He applies also 2 strength down to each enemy that is dealt a critical hit. So combined, he applies 3 from the team leader ability and 2 from Storm Arrows, which is 5 strength downs each time because he always crits. And I think it's pretty. It's really good. I have not seen yet anyone else as a team leader that is as effective. Some says Cyborg is amazing. I think he's not. First off, he's most likely not gonna get a turn before he could even act, and he has 50% chance to apply a 13% buff, turn meter up. So that's, I don't know, unless the game is basically using it as like with the other ones, so it happens 100% maybe, but I don't think it's that effective. I have Cyborg Legendary 3, I think on first level. So there's another thing, quick draw. Damage and apply 3 agility downs to an enemy, 50% chance to strike twice. Important thing with that, if he called to assist, he uses this quick draw, he applies the 3 agility down, and he has a chance to strike twice. So it's pretty annoying. That's how you can see those loops happening. And on top of that, with all these agility downs, so basically he used Storm of Arrows that with strategy over power, he gives another 3 agility down on the max skill. But then if everyone has agility down, because he's always 100% crit, then Suicide Squad, that shot gets additional bonus, extra turns, and then they just basically the 2 Arrow, Wonder Woman, and Suicide Squad, that shot, they are just go hand in hand. They are extremely useful in arena because they just spamming all these multiple turns. But my favorite is Emerald Arrow, and you can see you can farm Emerald Arrow from the heroic nodes. Castaway is a PvP reward, kind of harder to get. I think it's worth it to save up the arena tokens and just open it at once. It's probably the best way to get it. Well, I have Huntress, yeah. So basically, Crusader Batman is pretty good. The only problem of what I'm having with him is his speed is 88. He goes last on my team if I use him. I almost having him a legendary 4. He is useful because some of the events I can only run with him. Main skill, what you should be focusing on is grapnel kick. Put his first legendary there, basically 2 times. Heavy damage to an enemy, 85% crit chance, which is like crit chance if Batman is invisible, plus 50 crit damage if Batman is invisible. And then I added him 50% chance to gain invisibility. Basically, any of these you can put the legendaries. The first attack he uses often. Damage to an enemy, 100% chance to silence if Batman is invisible. Gain 40% turn meter if Batman is invisible. That's a really useful skill. So he silences every single hit. It's extremely good to counter the enemy. There's passive ability if he is dealing damage. He also gets invisibility. So every hit he does pretty much applies almost like a chance to get invisible. Yeah, I like him. He's really strong. Well, Firestorm is good for PvE, in my opinion. So I have Mad Jester, Harley maxed out on the gear, and as you see, I have 491 shards. I did not buy her package for gems because she's an extremely common arena reward, and I think she's almost legendary 5. The cool thing about her is her power. Her speed being 84. She's kind of like fast, not in the league of the arrows, but she's not as bad. So her acrobatic skill can be upgraded 3 times. Basically, passive ability gain 25% turn meter and apply 2 intelligence down to enemy if Harley evades. 100% chance to use pop bang on enemy if evading. So basically, she's gonna, when she uses her evasion, then she's gonna apply 25% turn meter up and 100% chance to use pop bang, which is important because pop bang, legendary, chance to strike twice, but also it applies light damage to an enemy, 70% chance to do 200% damage. So every time she evades, she can hit. She immediately can use pop bang twice. It's pretty good. The only issue that I'm having with her, her Come Get It gain taunt and 4 evasion up, 16% chance to enrich each enemy, which would go up I think 20%. and she can get 5 evasion ups if the skills are maxed, but I stopped maxing her out because the main issue is the artificial intelligence does not use come get it at first. For in common sense would be when she goes, she should apply that first, and then whatever big smasheroonie, but it's not. She applies big smasheroonie and she's dead. There is no use for her really, other than PvE environment or like events and stuff, because she uses really great the pop bang as soon as she can get the evasions, but she doesn't, because come get it is not the artificial intelligence PvP does not use it first, even though she could go before the enemy team. So she would be an extremely useful tank and attacking character, or defensive characters is basically if they would change her moveset to be used over anything else, over the big smasheroonie, then she could fight back pretty good, because there is a high chance that she's gonna use the pop bang on evasion. Yeah, I have Zatanna. I could legendary for her. She's amazing for PvE, not so much for PvP. Same with Sinestro. They changed his skill sets. I'm gonna just show you how my Zatanna looks like. Basically, abracadabra, I put on a legendary, apply 2 intelligence down to an enemy, purge 2 buffs from target. So every single base attack she does, she applies 2 intelligence down and removes 2 buff. Extremely useful. Hat trick pretty much does the same special damage, which a higher special damage, and purge 6 buffs from an enemy and apply 4 intelligence down. So if you combine the two, that is basically 8 buff purged off in 2 attacks, and 6 intelligence down on an enemy. So a special attack user on an event or a PvE settings, she's just renders them mindless. And then heavy heal and purge 1 debuff from all allies. It's pretty good. And I added to her 15% through heal to all allies. I have not used her since I upgraded her skills. The other ones, I think it's not as useful. Passive ability, 23% chance to apply 1 intelligence down if enemy damages Zatanna, not really. And then if I would put on a legendary, 1 extra in down, I don't think it's that useful right now. Her team leader is all allies have a 30% chance to gain 15% turn meter if debuffing an enemy. Only way I could see it useful if it would be 100% chance to do that. And even though 32, 34, 36, 38, 46% chance to have the turn meter up, yeah, so all allies have 46% to get that. I don't think it's that useful as Emerald Arrow's team leader. Yeah, a lot of people loves the Flash, so I gear 10'd him. I didn't really leveled him up to 70 yet because I only have 5 million essence and it's hard to combine. And and on the top of that, I don't have the ability rings right now to do it. But whatever I had, I applied it for him. I haven't put too much thought on it and didn't assign his legendary skills. I don't know exactly which one can be upgraded twice. I would have to ask you guys about that if you did it. Also, what I should put on. Basically, every time I fight, you can see a Flash, then he is either applies the speed buff on himself, this one, and or using the one of the punch or something, and either one hit KO one of my arrows or doing that. So I have Jon Stewart. I really like him. Basically, he can be useful, but with sorry about that. But with the strategy you do, you can avoid his attacks, especially if he can't even if you are making him to use the AoE first before he gets these buffs. So if he goes 50% health under, he gains 7 strength up, 40% shield, and death immunity. But the death immunity lasts 3 turns. It's extremely annoying. You try to debuff him because he applies the death immunity first, and then the strength ups. You have to debuff the strength ups in order to get to him, which is really really hard to do because you debuff first the strengths. And then the other one, light damage to all enemies, minus 16% all enemy turn meters, damage plus 30% if Green Lantern is shielded. So the two combined, he goes under 50% health. He applies 40% shield, which is, as you see, would debeaver my power, the AoE damage that actually the AI uses 100% of the time. Gonna get 30% more damage on this skill. Solid construct. That's a good thing. He applies shields up. I haven't maxed out, but it's really useful. I think he's a really great Green Lantern. Ring Barrage does 70% more damage if he has his health under 50%. And his team leader, 30% chance for all allies to gain 1 strength up at the beginning of an ally turns if ally is below 50% health. Well, I guess, I don't know, it's like 22 or something percent, if I see it right. 16, 19, 22, 25, 28, 31%. I don't know. I think green arrows are better, but his skills are pretty neat. But again, if you can make him use his AoE, he is pretty useless afterward on PvP. He can be a sandbagger, like they don't expect that. And sometimes with these the thing is with the assist chain, like Wonder Woman goes a lot of the times and then they accidentally put, because you can't control the assist ones, so they make him go under 50% health, and then he can use the AoE. Happened to me a lot of the times that I lost the fight because the enemy, Jon Stewart Green Lantern, accidentally been put under 50% health, and then it's like 35,000 damage when the AI uses it. When I play with him, he's not dealing that much damage, with probably 8,000 to 15,000 with the AoE damage. But apparently AI, on defense, every team gets some sort of a buff. I don't exactly know what, but they seem to be stronger than when you would play with them. Yeah, I have Star Sapphire. Didn't put much on her skills yet, but I can show you as well. What they do. But I think next time I'm gonna show you that. So I'm farming Grundy as well, and Flash, Jon Stewart, and who's that? Daily, and Black Adam. But on level 70, the best really, if you do, if you have the gems and stuff, to just go to the shop and you decide, you click on here, you spend 4K on a pack, and basically, and you get whatever comes out. There you go. See, an emerald arrow. He is really common here, so it's with this one it's easy to get his shards. So as you see, I spent 4,000 gems, got 50 shards of his. Like, hello, that's pretty good compared to you have to spend 2,000 in order to, like, here, energy. So I spend 500 gems, I get like what, 250 energy. He needs, for the flash here, let's see, there is, I spend 14 energy, and I got 1 token, and then I have 35, then I go, that's an extra 25 gems, then use Speed Force again, nothing, and nothing, in order just to do that. And then I go here, spend 500 gem, that's like the quarter of the what I just spent on the bundle, and then I can get 50 shards for him easily by just doing the 4K gem one. And then I have to refresh here, apply, eventually will run out the energy that I'm having. See, that was just a waste. 50 gems, 2 times 25, 50, and 2 times 50. So it's like 200 gem I can spend a day, and then what? I get 4 shards or 5 shards of him. Like, ridiculous compared to... although you might not get him at all. Like, I got a lot of characters by the 4K bundles. Most of my Emerald Green Arrow is from the bundle. I got some Huntress, Huntress as well. Unfortunately got a couple of Chemo. As you see, I think I have him like Legendary 4 now. It's kind of sad because I don't really like him. I think he's totally useless, and I know a lot of people doesn't like it that I don't like him. So yeah, that's about it right now on the character